package in the mail, MSX games from Japan. Collecting without fail those shoot 'em ups, and that's the plan. He doesn't just collect them, he also codes them too. Join us and we'll go on electric adventures with you.
Hey YouTube, Electric Adventures here with my monthly update for February 2018. It's just a vlog or general chat about what's been going on with my retro collecting and in general for the last month. Thank you for all the kind words from everybody for my video last month where I indicated that I'd had an operation on my legs. It's taken most of the month, but my legs are mostly healed up now. I'm walking well, walking along the flat, trying to go for a bit of a walk each day and building up my strength, so getting better and better all the time, a lot less pain, more energy, so all very positive so far, so very, very happy, and thank you for everybody who sent through kind words. So I've got some other pickups, not a lot of pickups because I was mainly recovering, so there might be a few more next month because I did order a couple of things while I was sick. Now a Kickstarter that I backed quite a long time ago, I can't actually remember when, it was actually quite a surprise when it showed up. A board game called TRexSpaceStations. I do actually like you know, space-based strategy type games, and it is all about strategy and everything like that. I've only had a chance to have one game with my 11-year-old. She actually quite enjoyed it. It was actually her suggestion that we play it when she saw it, so that's good that she's showing an interest in those sort of things as well. And it's quite a nice game. I just need to play it a bit more. Now, something very heavy I've just picked up here. This is something that my fellow podcast member Aaron from Press Play on Tape, he was trying to clean up his place a little bit to make some room, and he said he had a box of Amiga magazines and would I like them, so you know, I could, well, I've got a bit more space than him of course, and give me something to read while I was recovering. So it is quite a few magazines, and there were a couple of extra assorted ones, but most of them are the Australian Commodore and Amiga, what is it, review, Australian Commodore and Amiga review, and they're actually quite a nice magazine. Now obviously it's something that evolves as it goes through. That's one of the earlier ones from, when was that, May 1992, that's the earliest one, through to there was about 5 that were still, obviously the person whose they were originally had subscribed to them, and there were 5 in packets unopened. So the last one I have is June 1994. And it's actually really interesting going through, and the format doesn't change too much. It gets the print quality gets a little better. Just to see what was happening with the Amiga around 1992 to 1994. And how much people paid for add-ons for the Amiga is actually quite amazing. The prices in there are to be seen to be believed, and people complain about how much some of the new modern Amiga stuff goes for. People paid a lot of money for you know, add-ons back then. Now something, oh here we go, I got a book. I think it came out late last year. I saw it on Rob Caparetto's, so Hellfire's channel. He showed a couple of, I think he showed about 4 books. I think I've ordered 2 of them. This is the one that showed up, and it's Breakout, How Atari 8-Bit Computers Defined a Generation. It is very well written by Jamie Lendino. And I said it's very well written. I haven't quite finished it, and he goes into the history of the Atari 8-bit computer, and it is well written and an easy book to read, and I've actually powered through that in a couple of days and I've been quite enjoying it. I've just got through the section where he goes through like his 50 top favourite games and describes them. That section was a little hard going as far as reading. The first section I flew through quite quickly, and the section I'm up to now is emulation. So I'm not sure what's after chapter 7. Oh yeah, collecting mods, community and Atari Forever are the other chapters, so small chapters near the end. As I said, I really am enjoying that book. Now one more pickup, a modern game. I've had my eye on this for a little while because I actually have the game on PC, but I don't get to play it very often because I do work at a computer all day. I'm a programmer and I run application lead, so I look after a lot of other programmers and very busy on a computer all day. The last thing you want to do when you get home sometimes is sit in front of a computer and play games, whereas it's just a psychological thing. It's nice to sit on the couch with a controller and play on a console. So I got the PlayStation 4 version. I didn't get it new. A friend of mine bought it second hand, and there aren't that many copies of this around. I didn't even see it when it was new on shelf, but there's a couple of second-hand copies floating around. And he bought it second hand, he took it home, and it is an easy game, and he got discouraged. He also bought the latest Metal Gear zombie game, and he thinks he's going to play it more, so he said I could buy it off him. So I got a second-hand game copy of Elite Dangerous. Nothing wrong with the condition. I think it's still got a code in there. I don't know whether it's been used. There's no scratches on the disc. I only got that just the other day though, and I've been a little busy, so I haven't actually put it into the console yet to see, but I'm hoping that playing it with the controller on the PlayStation 4 and sitting, down on the lounge, I'll actually be able to play through it a bit more. Because I did, the original Elite is one of my favourite games, and it's actually a game I have tried to collect across multiple systems. I actually have quite a few copies of Elite for quite a few systems now, and it's a game that I played to death back in the day. I started, first version of the game that I played was actually on somebody else's, the BBC Micro game. I saw it being demoed, and then the MSX version came out, and I actually had a disc copy back in the day. Came out on both disc and tape. I have subsequently got a tape version of the MSX version that somebody kindly sent me when I bought a computer off them probably about a year ago. I believe I've got the Spectrum version, the Amiga version, the Atari ST version and the Electron version, so quite a few versions. I could have missed one out there too. So a game I like. Now also in the background just over my shoulder here you'll see another arcade cabinet. Now this is not my arcade cabinet, I'm babysitting this arcade cabinet. It popped up just the other day, and a local friend, Gary, couldn't not grab it. Now it has quite a large screen in it. It has so it's a bit of it's always been an NBA Jam, so it's a bit of a custom build. The control panel has been replaced at some stage, probably because it perhaps had other games in it, we're not sure, but it's got its original NBA Jam board in it, and it says, I think it's got a label on the back that says Jam Tech. It's got a nice big screen. The driver board for that screen though looks like it has been repaired multiple times. The monitor comes on nice and bright, but it's got vertical collapse. So just earlier tonight, Gary was around here, we were just having a bit of a look at the board, but somebody has really done a pretty rough job of trying to fix the driver board. So Gary's taken it over to his place to have another look, see if he can get, as he said, he can't make it any worse. And then when he might look at there's a service on mainland Australia, a nice guy there who'll either repair your unit, or he'll let you trade in your unit for a new one, or you can just buy a new one. And he's got models of all sorts of different driver boards. So a very valuable service to have over here in Australia, especially when you're trying to restore cabinets. And I think Gary wants to try and restore that as much as he can, leave the red part of the cabinet and just, make the control panel look more like the original. So probably strip it down, put new ends on it, and recode it and things like that, and put a new sticker set on it just so it matches. And he's going to keep it in NBA Jam, because NBA Jam's quite a popular fun game. I don't mind basketball games actually as far as sports games go. Probably not totally my cup of tea, but not too bad. Alright, repeating myself a little bit, but I'm going to answer another one of TRexSpaceStations questions. I haven't had a lot of time to watch a lot of videos, so there probably have been some other questions out there, even though I was recuperating. I did watch a few videos, but I was sort of catching up from the previous months of not watching a lot of videos. And he showed his top 5 Megadrive, as he calls them, shmups. I don't call my shmups or shoot-em-ups, I actually call them shooters. So, sort of in 5 to 1, but they could be swapped around. If I put all these games back and went over and picked again, I'd probably end up with slightly different games. So I've just done a normal walk over the shelf and pick. So for my number 5, oh god, it's still got a sticker on the back of it. That's a bit slack of me. I haven't had this game that long, and it is Felius for the Megadrive Genesis, and I have a Japanese copy, and it is a really colourful, quite a hard shooter, obviously set in you know, Greek mythology type times, vertical scrolling shooter, definitely not easy, but I quite like, and I do like, I think I just favour vertical orientation games. Really good condition, great game, highly recommended, not as easy to get, but not the most expensive shooter you're going to find out there. Now, my number 4, and how dare I put this at number 4, some people will say, but it is Truxton, and I must like the game because I've got 2 copies, although I will say the Japanese copy is a bit of a cheat. That's actually a reproduction cover, so wasn't exactly true, but this is my original copy of Truxton from back of the day. This is one of my original games. When I sold my original Megadrive, my brother-in-law bought it, and I did him a favour and he let me have the game back. So I've got my original copy back, my original POW Truxton copy, and it's still in absolutely great condition. And at some stage I picked up a loose Japanese one, and I've just put it in a box and printed a cover, so just for the sake of having the Japanese one, and I like the art on them. Now my next one, now this was my favourite version, home version of this game, and this is one of my favourite arcade games. I do have an arcade PCB for this. It boots up and runs, it just doesn't have any sound. It was sold to me as working, but the person had really hacked up the sound section. It has one of those composite chip things that's almost impossible to find a replacement for, so at some stage I'll possibly make an add-on sound amplifier for that PCB to fix it, but it's in my big electronics round to fix it, and it is none other than Raiden Trad. Once again, this is a loose cartridge that has been upgraded with a printed cover. Actually, the printed cover was sent to me by he used to be down in Walshop, his Sega Socks. Quite a few. I really appreciate that he sent me that, because he got himself a full colour one upgrade. The cartridge is a little faded and I don't have the manual, Japanese copy, but a great game. I haven't played it on the Megadrive for a while because I got the PC Engine one, and that is definitely the better version. But this was the next best one that I absolutely loved, and I actually probably need to replay it now that I have a proper 60 Hz Megadrive. Probably need to give it another go. Now next, another nostalgic favourite, and one that matches up with TRex Space Station. Sorry, shouldn't leave that on flashing. TRexSpaceStations picks. This was his number 1. This is another one of my games from back in the day. This is one I actually did manage to hold on to and not sell, and it is Fire Shark. Now, most interesting, I recently also got the Fire Shark arcade PCB, and oh boy, is this game much harder in the arcade than it is on the Megadrive. I mean, it's a fantastic game on the Megadrive. It's a nice vertical shooter, a bit like Raiden, and more like the game in the arcade that I played more than Fire Shark. I don't think I've ever played Fire Shark in the arcade. Is another one called Flying Shark, and apparently it's the sequel to that one, or supposedly. And I actually have an arcade PCB of Flying Shark as well, but it doesn't work yet. Another fixie. So this game is one of my originals from back in the day. It's still in really good condition. I have played this all the way through to the end on easy. I don't think I have gotten all the way through to the end on normal, but it's a great game. I basically, my Megadrive I took down to my holiday home. I was down there for years, and I used to play that when I was down there. Now my number one pick, and I really do like this version. I think it's very well done. I like the whole series. I've continued to buy more versions of this game for multiple systems, and the modern versions as well. So I'm speaking of none other than Darius and Darius II. So this is a proper Japanese copy. This is a really well done game. About the only better version of Darius II is the Saturn version, and that has the annoyance of the fact that it's, I mean, the original arcade was a dual screen monitor game, and on the Saturn they've tried to replicate that too closely, so you end up with really big black borders top and bottom. Whereas this one, they've they've edited the game a little bit, and it's really well done. So this is a complete Japanese copy in really good condition, and it really is a great shooter. So I haven't gone all vertical scrolling shooters. I had to put one horizontal in there. And something I said on Ben's video was, imagine if they had had a version of R-Type on the Megadrive. Considering how good R-Type was on the Master System, imagine what it would have been like on the Megadrive. Just hold that thought, and it would have, yeah, I reckon that would have been a fantastic addition and a missed opportunity for the Megadrive. Alright, I'll leave a link down below for Ben's TRexSpaceStations original video. What are your top 5 Megadrive or Genesis shooters, or shmups, as he likes to call them? Now, a little homebrew update. Now, I did release a separate video, which I'll show up here as well, about Sydney Hunter and the Caverns of Death. So, as I've said before, I haven't been very well for quite some time. I've only really been a lot of pain and tiredness, so I've barely been able to function. I've been able to get up, go to work, come home, and then collapse on my couch and be a vegetable. And I really haven't had the energy to do homebrew development, but ever since I've had the operation, I have found my energy levels are returning. I've only just this week have started the daily walks exercise, so I have tired myself out a little bit this week. But last weekend I got a really solid session in on the game. I completely reorganised the sprite tile table because I was out of room, and I just couldn't fit all the characters in. I've now fitted all of the enemies in, including all their animations. I only had to cut one enemy into 3 animations instead of 4. I still do have an issue to solve. In later screens, Sydney goes across ropes like this. I think I can work that out. There's one more thing I can remove to put in there, or I might be able to, for that screen, dynamically load, because not all the enemies are shown on the screen. I might be able to overwrite one of the cut the enemy patterns to get Sydney Hunter's animation. I will work it out. I have written some new routines to display sprites, because sprites on the NES are only 8x8, so in order to make larger ones you've got to tack a whole lot of sprites together. I've written some generic routines to do that, got a nice memory structure in ROM for defining them, and I have entered more of the level rooms and more of the enemy shapes, and I've done some of the enemy movement logic. So I've only got to write. Most of the enemies can be placed on the screen now. You'll see in the video, if you look closely, there are a couple more enemies there, but they don't move. Some of them animate, so I've just got to do some more of the movement logic. and then I can do the pick-up gems where you get the extra bonus scores, and then do a bit of collision detection so you can die. And the other important thing, I've got the boomerang to work. Although I might reverse the animation. At the moment he throws low and it comes back high. I think a boomerang should go from high and come back low, so I've just got to reverse that round. But the boomerang's works really well. If you jump around and it returns to you wherever you are. It only goes out a particular distance. If you throw it off the edge of the screen, it doesn't come back, it's just reset. So that's all working really well. A couple little collision detection things with the background to sort out, but they're only minor. That's just probably some things I've got in the wrong tables. But just from a couple of sessions on the weekend, I've made a lot of progress, and I haven't made any progress for quite some time. So it won't be long. I'll probably get some more time to work on it this weekend. And as soon as I finish that, I'll be moving on to finishing off a couple of Coleco MSX homebrews like Berserk, Cavern Fighter and Pixidus. When I was sick, I did actually fixed a bug in Pixidus, so that one's actually closer just by itself. So coming up, more electric adventures of the games. Some people have been quite enjoying those, so that's just I realised with my own website that I have screenshots and you can download my original games. But there was no videos of them, so I've just been going through and doing a video of each of my old original, mostly basic. They're basic with a little bit of machine code, some of them. So these are my really early titles, just to document them a little more, and that makes a nice series to work through, and they're quite easy for me to put together. Although as they get bigger and go through, I'm going to only very briefly walk through the code. The code is downloadable from my website afterwards, but at least get you started so you can have a look. Most important thing is to get a bit of gameplay. Let's Make a Retro Game. Got a new episode out last month. That's been well received, and obviously big gap between that one and the previous one. But I have the next episode on the way. It's probably closer to the end of the month, but there's another one of those coming on. More pickups. Yes, I ordered some stuff when I was sitting on the couch, so a couple of those things coming, and some more gameplays. I'm mainly doing the gameplays for my benefit. It's nice if people like to watch them as well. They've been reasonably popular with some of my viewers, but it's just nice getting out. I mean, I've mostly been concentrating on my MSX collection and quite a few shooters. As you know, I like shooters, but of course I'll pick some other games from other systems once I've had a good run through those, and just keep on recording those as I play them and have a bit of fun with them. So just allows me to have a bit of fun with my collection. Alright, I hope everybody out there has had a great month and has been enjoying their games and their collecting. I'm Electric Adventures. Thanks to all my subscribers. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.